Hello folks, muffled sound here. I'm coming to you from a combination of spraying in there along with acoustic guitar setup in here, so I'm really sorry this is going to be difficult to understand. But the important thing to tell you is, here we have an old Yamaha acoustic, about 40 years old, model number being the FG365 SII. And it's a lovely old thing, but it's finally kind of running out of, well, the action's getting a bit high and we've not got a massive amount left in the saddle. But I've done some calculations and here is what I think we can achieve. Currently we have a last fret high E action of 3.5 mils down there, and a low E last fret action of 4.5 mils. We've got 2.1 left of saddle here, 2.9 on the low E there. The current angle is about 25 to 30 of the high E. The current break angle of the low E is a bit steeper. We could probably borrow 120 of that, still leave it above the wood. Borrow 190 of that, leave it a millimetre above the wood. We'll probably notch a couple of these here. Then that means we can remove, if that's 120, we remove 1.85, which so basically 120 here turns into 0.85 there, which gives us 2.65 and a 315 for our last fret actions. Currently the first fret is pretty low on the high E strings, a bit higher on the others, so we don't want to do anything with that until we get this down to where we want. But we're going to change the nut anyway for a Tusq one. I'm using a Martin one with a bit of a slope on it to begin with, and we're going to put light gauge strings on. So nothing too fancy going on, but it's a lot of toing and throwing. I'm going to pull off the charger right now. It's quite a bit of toing and throwing, and it's the worst sound ever because I'm muffled, I'm afraid. So first thing I'm going to do is done all the measurements I need to do. I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off, slap the strings off and take off the whatchamacallit. Take off the saddle and mark, do the measurements of the saddle once it's out of the thing. So we're also going to put this on charge because we need it on charge. Trying. I've not got the best humidity in here, so I've been running this dehumidifier for quite a bit. Yeah, running a dehumidifier quite a bit to get the environment okay for spraying. I just need to get the colour layers done on a net I'm repairing. Now I've slackened those off quite a bit because thank you, nut. There we go, that was easy. What we need to do, I've got to get the saddle out quite easily. So there's a bit, not a lot of saddle left. So here we have it. For a minute I'm going to put this hanging up and we'll concentrate on measuring and marking up this thing. So draw it out onto a lathe and get some measurements in it. So you have base end, treble end, and we're going to go with, at the high E notch roughly, we've got 6.68, and at the base low E notch we've got 7.87. So we know, we've already decided that we're going to take off 1.2 and 1.9, so we need to mark that off. So I'm going to do it with this, although the marking isn't going to be the real measuring bit. 1.2, 1.2. Yeah, we're not going to get this right by measure by the marking side of things. We're going to do it by measuring more than anything. But the marking is a good start point. So I can kind of scribe what's going on. Okay. And 1.9. There we go, 1.9. So it's a more or less straight line with a little bit of raise or increase as we get into the bass department. So that's our thing. I'm going to mark it with a blade. I don't know how well you can see that. Quick look, there's our mark. Get some grime on it. Did I do it right? Come on. I need a mark, but I can't see it. Okay, on that one. There. It's a bit slippery, this really. So we have just a guideline, and if I mark it a little bit like so, you can see I'm giving myself a clear line to work to. Now what I can do with that is I can go over to the spinning wheel and take off a fair bit of that, just so I get the majority of it out of the way. So that's taken some of it off. Sanding block up here, which is a bit covered in wood from yesterday. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to square up the bottom of this now, if we can. Okay, looks nice and square. So now what I'm looking at is, again, remeasuring, bearing in mind I know what I'm aiming for. If I work it out on here, my target is 6.68 minus 120 equals 548. 548 at that one, and then we have 787 minus 190, and that leaves us with 6. Call it 6, it's close enough. 6 and 190 is 790. Okay, 790, it's close enough. So we're 548 and 6 on those marks is what we're looking for. So let me see now. 599 and hard to find the slot. 630. So we're very close to where we want to be. I'm going to take some more off here. Again, just checking the squareness of the bottom. Matron, we're going for 548. 548. Ooh. 613. Tiny bit over on the bass side, eh? Not so bad. And add a bit more downward pressure on the bass side. And I think we'll be right there. So that's my target reached. 6. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Now, what we get is to reassess now the situation. We're going to put back the original nut for a minute because we just need that in place. We don't need too much change going on for a second. We'll take care of the nut in a minute. Right, saddle under there. Wow, nice and low. Low as anything. But there we have it. Okay, so switch over. Okay, so everything on. Brake angle needs it needs slotting, so that's not a problem. We're going to do that, but everything else will be okay. But we'll slot the first 3 strings closer to the thing, and then what we'll do is we'll end up. This is actually spot on now. So if we were to difference already. I mean, it's never going to be the lowest thing in the world. It's coming out at 3. That's pretty much where I hoped it would be. And this one's coming out at 250, which is a little bit less than I planned. So the next thing we've got to do is going to take off the nut. We're going to reproduce it, but this time we want the slots to be a bit higher, so we don't want to end up making the adjustments right down to the same level, because otherwise we'll have no action left because we've already lowered the last fret action, so it's reduced the first fret as well. Sorry about this audio, mate. In fact, just for the sheer heck of it, we just need a little bit of sanding to go on both of the sides of this. I'll go down the end there to do it. quite a difficult one to do this because it's sloping in several directions, but it's the best one for width. Sorry about that. Best one for width. So I'm sticking with it for width, and we need to square this off. So I'm going to do that with a pencil, I think. Let's see what I can achieve. Something like that. Going to take the number right off. That's okay because we don't need it. So I'm going to flatten that out on the other one. Close to flattening it out, I should say. Right, so I'm getting close to a flat bottom, flat sides, but we've got the width and the spacing, which is what I wanted most of all. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this up again, a new nut, got some room. There. Okay, nut. So we have got width-wise, the original is 490. 490. We've got the width is exactly 43.94, and we've got 44.26, so we're just over, which is great. We want to be just over. We're okay with that. What we want now is to equal or slightly increase the height. So we've got, the original is 800. Original is 800 here, and in the slot of the high, low E, it goes all the way in, so it's 765. 765. And what we want to be on the safe side is we want to make that 0.10 over 1 above, so we're going to go 775, that's our target there, and we're going to go, what did I say, 10 above, 810 there. That's what we want the next one to be. So let's measure it up and see what we've got. We have got 815, that's almost a drop in, and we've got 817, which is a bit high on the base end, but that's okay because we can lower the action on the with the files. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the board, and the aim now will be to just flatten this out. Put you a bit further over there. So I'm going to very carefully attempt to flatten this out, knowing I can lose a bit up on the base side to get this flat. So then I want to keep the nut still, I rock with it instead of moving my hands. It looks silly, but it does the job. Learned the slow and hard way. Right, that's nearly flat. The problem is we're probably still a bit over thickness, so let's check the width we've got here. Okay, we've got 5.6, so quite a bit over thickness, and we can take it off any face we want. So I'm going to start by taking it off the front face here. And we're going to, what's it, 4.9, bing bing, 4.9, 5.26, checking the straightness. Yes, straightness. again. 500, that's good. Now let's just level it out on here, like that. 4.9. Good, so this should nearly all be dropping, which it is. Perfect. Okay, so we were 4.9. Sorry, we were. Let's just check this again. We were needing to be 43.9, so that's close to 44. And this one wants to be 44, but it's 44.2 at the moment, so I'm going to do a bit more on the flat thing here. 44.3. On the mark, get set. So we're just about the right height, just about the right drop in height all round. So I think we're close enough to do any final adjustments by slotting. I think I'll do that any minute now. I'll get this lined up. So working with the digital caliper when you're making nuts is really important. And the thing is with nuts is that they never actually make them for every model of guitar. It's impossible. So you always have to do some adjustment like I've done here. And obviously you start by getting one that's a bit bigger, but it has to have the exact E to E that you need. Now let's just see what we're above here. We're 0.3, quite way above that. So if I were to add a few together here, let's have a look. Oh god, 0.3 mils, 0.88, what are we doing? I haven't got my head around all of these. 7.7, 0.5, 0.6. 0.6 mils. Okay, that's 0.6. Quite a bit more. 0.6 on the bass side. And I think we look at about 0.8 on the. Yeah, 0.6 and 0.8. 0.6 and 0.8. So that's 3 over minus 0.3, and that's minus 0.5, minus 0.3. So there's still a bit to go if we don't want to dig into the slots. We can try and do it from below, which I'll go at now. So we're 0.5 over on the treble side, and we're 0.3 over on the bass side. So what we'll do is we'll look at our target measurements there. So we'll take what we've got here. We'll call this a sort of start again point. So we'll go. Currently we've got 8.47. I'll just write it up here. 8.47, and we want to minus 0.5, we'll call that 8 dead on. We want 8 dead on the treble side, and we want 788. We're going to take off 0.3, and we want 7.5. So we've got a target there. And we'll go back to our point, hellfire. 0.8, 0.3. There's our 0.3 mils, which is our standard one. So I will get the board up again. So we've got 0.3 to go off the bass side, 0.5 off the treble side. So what I'm going to do is now turn this around so I can attack the treble side first. I'm going to take some down. Okay, so that's the treble side. Let's see what we've got. We want 820, and we want 750, that's 770, so a 20 all round. We've come a bit off the vertical now, so I'm going to lean it back to the vertical if I can get it there. And I'm pretty happy that I'm in the vertical. Just get it onto the finer grip. And I think that will be where I'm happy to be. And if I need to do any more now, I will do it with the nut slots. So I'm going to put this back on here, test it out, and then we're going to go and spray a bit of red vintage cherry. Now the differences may be that we may find we've got still to the edges because the radius may be different. I'm always forgetting that last little detail. Yes, I've forgotten that last little detail. It's a flatter radius. Very low. It's a little higher on those two, so maybe a tiny bit of slotting needed, but it's a nice low action. All we need to do now is slottering at the end here, and lots of cleaning. So let's get these off done for everything's filthy. This tuner's a bit worn out, I'm afraid. A bit notchy, but hey. Okay, let's cut these off. And then we'll go and do a quick level of spray, or coat spray, depending on how it looks from the last one. Okay, let's go and see the spray situation. Heater, dehumidifier, the stuff. 56 in here, which isn't bad at all. It's actually looking all right with this particular can stuff I've got. It's pretty good. Becky. A little bit of light spot down here where the primer came through. That's okay. That's all right. Not the end of the world. We'll get next opportunity. We'll get clear spray on it. If I can just finish this off tonight with enough colour, so I'm happy with it. It's got a little bit of change of colour at the end here, a bit darker, but that's fine by me. Okay, there. Go. Oh, sorry. Got the old Y front boxer's shot there. Didn't mean to shock you. Right, getting rid of the old, oh dear, these tuners are, they are knackered. It's a shame really, but they've had it. I don't think there's any restoration that can really, I'm not sure, depending on what's worn out. But now, when we come to put the strings on again, we won't be putting this much on the posts, I promise. Get rid of this first. And we'll remove the tape. Right. Four, 5, 6. Okay. Right. So this now will be hard to get out. So we'll need to use a blade or something. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark up. It's a bit imprecise really. It's not the most technically precise activity you've ever seen in your life, but we're going to notch these little babies, and to do that we're going to come some way forward. I'm going to draw a little line on here. Sort of I'll do for now, and I'm going to draw a line along each one here, sort of freehandish really. It's not that critical. I don't think we'll do any more than that. The idea will be to cut the slot so that the string can come up closer rather than further away. The further away the string goes, the lower the angle it is per given amount of height on the saddle. So if we can get the string to emerge here on this little marker instead of here, then it will come up more vertically and go over the saddle, what little saddle material there is. So this is going to be quite a crude process of drilling with a small Dremel type machine and a small bit, and hoping just to kind of nibble away at the thing. And for this we'll need to find the best, smallest bits we can get hold of, and I don't have too great a collection of minuscule bits, and we also need a slightly different, whatever that thing's called. Mandrel. Mandrel? Is that the right word? So I'm looking for what is the finest bits I've got. Like I say, they're not spectacularly fine, but to be quite honest, they don't have to be. All they need to be is thin enough to do the job without leaving a huge amount of these gap. So I think these will be thin enough. Now what I'm going to just look out for is a mandrel that fits with one of these tiny bits. And that's straight away, that's a no-no. Where are they? Do mandrels live? Mandrel head. I need to make sure these go back in their little tidy boxes. Otherwise, you'll get caught using them. So this one, small, probably. This one, This one probably just the right size. But I don't know whether this mandrel fits this thing. So I'll put a back in the back, as you can see. Bear with me. So there's the original chuck. There's the mandrel thing. Probably will work, I think. Here's my drill bit that I want to use when all said and done, and then it goes in like so. With a bit of luck, do I get, yes, it bites. Hoorah. Well, like I said, it's not the thinnest one I've ever had my hands on, but it'll do the job for this process. So, how do you get a start? Well, let's zoom out. We can't see it. Sorry about that. I'm going to zoom out. In some ways, it'd be nice if I had a thinner one, but it's, in a way, you still got to, if you have a thinner one, you've still got to make it, you've got to make it wide enough for the string to come through anyway, so you probably end up doing the same thing. So we're going to start from here and get this thing running, and I'm going to make a noise. What I can do is adjust that off to where I'm at. So these little reductions, I have to now kind of dig them out sideways, which is a kind of physical thing. There's no secret to it. You just have to basically kind of mixture of grinding and drilling. Not perfect yet, it'll take a bit more. Right, but that's the basic idea, that you get the slot in there like so. And it's a tidy little exit, it should be. A bit sticking up there. Come on. Shut that off, man. So again, you can sort of get in there and cut down a bit. It's going to be mostly done with the drill. There aren't any other tools that are small enough that will cut. There's no little milling bits or anything like that small enough. With side cutting, it's just the way it is, I'm afraid. And there are no tiny blades that will go in there and do anything clever either. There might be a sort of bit of a slight cutter like that one. That might help a little bit. But I guess the question is, and I've got a spare string bit thing. Let's get one of these in place. Let's call that the high. So the idea will be when we put this down there, yeah, it comes up. Let's put the saddle in. Comes up. Yeah, it's a better angle already. Yep. I don't know if you can see that at all, but that's the way it works. So we're going to do a bit more of that on these three. Keep that there because we might need that. Use the blade to remove the saddle. So it's a destructive technique without a doubt, but it's the last chance saloon for an old guitar, short of a neck reset, which is a destructive and expensive process as well. Dragging the bit sideways, sort of back and forth, does help. Can't really get that to do much more, frankly. That's not too bad. And again, this one will do the same. Oops, I seem to have untangled all these old strings. Spare set of acoustic guitar strings. Let's try the B, the B, the B, the B. Let's try this. I can't blow air through my mask, so I can't bring out that slot perfectly well, but there we are. So second one in. Again, you can see it exiting. Nice little angle there. So I'll just do the third one, I think, and maybe I'll do the fourth as well, just to be on the safe side. Now you can see that I'm fairly confident that we're in the right territory. Sorry if my hands get in the way. There we go. Breathe and breathe. Okay, so we have done some of the important slotting work. So again, if we just, I suppose I'll leave this in and we'll just do just a little check here using these spare strings. So we'll go with the wound G. Wrong hole, but hey, wound G. Yeah, better as well. Okay, I think we're in good form there. I'm going to keep these in case I need them again another time. There's a different set of strings. These are elixirs or something, but they're good as a sacrificial string if I need them for an acoustic set. Okay, so I'm going to first of all put away, I'm going to change back the mandrel. Ah, hellfire, I've forgotten which one is the one I use now. Right, I'm going to have to figure it out. Like so. Remove that. Now I'm going to figure it out by using a Dremel drum, which I normally use, which ain't going to be that one. It might be that one, but I doubt it. Well, that's a small, that's a narrow one. Yeah, let's use the narrow one since we've got some new different sized things. Okay, I'm just changing things around a bit. We've got a whole bunch of Dremel drums designed to work with the smaller mandrel size, and I haven't used those drums, so I might as well. They look good. Yeah. Okay, so those need to go back in the department of mandrels, etc. Send those in there. I'm going to check my painting again in a minute. There's a little spinny cutter, but that's very nice, but it would still be way too big for that. What's it? So the mandrel's tucked away there nicely. Right. Okay, so we've got basically the technical hard stuff done. What we're left with now is a very mucky guitar. So I think I'm going to go over it, clean everything and polish the frets, and probably be better off, well, it's a bit silly to switch it off since well, it's 49 minutes. So I just get on and do it. One of the things that I can say about a job like this is that a lot of the measuring and stuff and working out I've done off camera. Wrong size thing. Because I don't have a thing for this. Well, no, that's there. Yeah, done off camera. So basically quite a bit of thinking through, measuring, deciding what's possible, recording numbers, so that I know what I'm going to do when it comes down to it. So let's see how these are attached. These are going to be attached by, so this is going to be, so when we come back, this is going to be this way around. Right, I have to remember which goes with which. Actually, don't want to do that. That goes with that. And turn it over. I don't think it matters. I can't keep track of it. It's like a Chinese puzzle. So I'm taking the tuners off because it's the only way really to clean the headstock fully. Because at the moment it's just very grimy. I suppose it gives me an opportunity to also take a look at the thingies. By the thingies I mean take a look at the condition of the tuners and see the little nylon whatnots. So these aren't fitted properly, or they're loose or something, so I need to remove them. Now that really goes with that one, doesn't it? Yeah. Opposite of what we can see here. Yeah. So we're gonna get some cleaning solution. Get going with it. A bit short in this, so I'm gonna have to be careful not to waste it. It's grimy, but it is a good cleaning solution. There's always ground on dirt on these things that requires scratching off with either with a polishing compound or fingernails like that. And then we've got this grime, super grime. Might even put on some gloves for this. I'm going to go, while we're sort of running, I'm going to go and just check the spray in the other room. You can come with me for the thrill of it. One of the things, if you don't have any naphtha for cleaning up the gunge on the finish, you can always use warm water with a little bit of soap. Not bad for wood. How are we looking? That's pretty good. I might just give this one more shot before switching it off for the night. Why not, since we're here. Not very good bit of camera work there, was it? I'll edit that out probably. So that's good for that. Thank you, 57. You've done your job. As you can see, covered in red dust. That's okay for now. I think we've got enough warmth going on in here. I'll cut that off now as well. Technically, I could probably just, ideally, let it cool down and then open the door once it's dry for about 20 minutes, and then get rid of the mask shortly after that. Let's have a look at what we've got here. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can either use soap and water and give it a slow going over, or you can get yourself a blade and kind of remove the crusty stuff that's available, that will be visible. The problem with that is that it can be so built up with crusty stuff, like this is, that there's a risk of ending up with a very light looking fretboard. But this is a lot of organic matter, frankly. So I think I'd rather clean it dustily than not clean it. So, very satisfying in another sort of way, but it can be pretty grim. And we can put it on the floor where it mostly belongs. You see the difference already. It's quite spectacular. Indeed, when you get up to this end, what you want to do with your blade is break it in half so you don't end up with too much dangling out over the edge. It's okay if you're careful, you shouldn't end up catching anything anyway. No reason why you will, but the more you have sticking out, the more likely and possible it is that you'll tip the blade over crazy at some point and potentially get a gouge. This is filthy. Okay. There we go. difficult to do the last one, and then that doesn't have some kind of crud build up on it. Okay, well, straight up, that's a pretty big clean up. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get some wire wool and shine up these frets. Sometimes what you can do as well, if you want, I've got some, I bought some Tusq guitar polish. I might do it at home later then, but I get the kind of grime off here with this, but then later on I'll give it a polish over with this new Tusq colour tones stuff. It's really good, highly recommended guitar polish, sort of scratch remover polish really. I'll obviously do the sides as well, so I'm just gonna get rid of any grime, easy big spot grime. The back and sides are quite clean, whereas the clean the front's a bit grippy. Right, so we come down to these fellas. So I want to put the what's its back on these, but I haven't got any. I've got some car polishing compound here which I will use. I've got some other stuff up there. A really fine one that I lost somehow. Anyway, I'm going to just use a little bit to get some of this dried on, baked on grime off. And the problem with baked on grime is that it's sometimes it's like watermarks, just dries on and won't come off unless you do this. Get the sort of car polishing compound, so it's pretty good for that. So that's all of the bits of blob. Sometimes, believe it or not, what you find on your headstocks, and most of all sometimes, is fly poo. It's a pretty disgusting thought, but there's a lot of it about. And some of this looks like it's old fly shite. Okay, so that's good. That's that. That's okay. I can put the tuners back on, providing they're working. Thank you. Not quite as good as the Tusq stuff, but when you haven't got it there, it's better than a poke in the eye. So we've got these wet rags here, and looking at this, they're very loose. I'm going to assume that there's nothing wrong with them other than the fact that they're unnecessarily loose. I'm going to tighten them all up a bit. Give them a sort of clean with this rag that's still got naphtha on it, and I'm going to try and remember which thing it came off. And to be honest, I haven't got the faintest idea, but they should all work pretty well together anyway. Where's my thing? There it is. I'm just going to do them up lightly by hand before. God, there goes the screw. Damn your eyeballs. I forgot to screw the damn thing out the back. Now, it's not the end of the world because I've got lots of these around. There it is. There's nothing particularly special about a tuner screw, thankfully. But it's better, I prefer not to lose them, if possible. So these are so mucky and I'm going to sort of just run the cleaning rock cloth over them now. I might load it up with a bit more naphtha as we go through. I'm also going to make just a little tweak on the wotsits, and we can loosen them off later if they get a bit too tight, if they are too tight. Yamaha Japan, it says. It sure does. Come on. Do this. Extremely loose. Oh, keep forgetting this bloody screw involved in there. I can't see what you see. I can't see what you see. Obviously, I'm not going to do that completely until I've got the other ones in. Get a bit more wet on this cloth here. Which is the wet cloth? It's this one, I think. Oh, right, this one out here. You go over there, you go over there. Good. Two of those. Yeah. All right. So we should be pretty much done in a few minutes. It's a Monday night, so I've got a guitar to pack up for Adam, and that shouldn't take too long. And I've got my Trekkie 11 at home ready for doing a little bit of what needs doing on it, a little bit more sanding, a little bit of machine sanding on the flatter surfaces, which means I've got to bring it back up here, followed by some sort of final hand sanding to get it nice and smooth and soft before getting stuck in with some true oil, and then ultimately I think some nitro finish. It's probably still erring on the side of no colours, just to let the natural colour of the eckie stand out, shine through, because it is a beautiful wood. So this time it's really golden, so I want it to show through. Okay. So out in the world at the moment we've got, who knows what's happening on the, well, we know there's North Koreans in Ukraine, which is completely insane. We've got Israel still going after Hezbollah, and Iran and its nuclear making potentials. We've got British activist Tommy Robinson jailed for 18 months, probably out in 9. Seems to me that when I saw of it, he didn't deny, or he didn't fight the fact that he was in contempt of court. He's very clear from what I saw of statements or interviews that the 9 months inside is the price he's going to pay for publishing the thing he thinks is vital to publish. So there's no kind of two ways around that. So he sort of accepted it and said, right, that's the price it's going to cost. So he'll be put in solitary apparently for his protection, because he's a bit of a target of lots of groups that don't like him very much. It's quite a divisive figure, but having said that, I'm the kind of person who I don't hate to judge things without researching them, and from what I've seen of my own research, I have more admiration for courageous stance on things than I have criticism. I don't really see anything near the accusations that are labelled at him have any evidence to back them up, which is always makes me suspicious when you see a character made into a sort of boogeyman. And, I think what's true about him is that he is easy picking for the system to make into a bogeyman. But I can only ever judge on what I have researched and seen myself, and I keep not seeing any of the evidence that the crimes that are levelled against him, which I find quite curious, because after a while what you start to think is, why is this system, if you like, or the establishment, why is it hell-bent on silencing this particular character? And I think for a lot of people, and certainly someone like me who's always curious about things, that makes me curious more than anything else. I want to look at it a bit closer, because I think this appears to be the hallmarks of a system, and an establishment that seems to think this person is a dangerous threat, such that the laws seem to need to be bent or applied in quite a specific and uncommon way to him, which is what I've seen over the years. So it makes me quite interested and suspicious of the powers that be, shall we say. Anyway, he's opted to pay the price for not taking down his film, and in doing so, he's more firmly, I think, in contempt of court, which, clearly he doesn't agree with the court's previous verdict that what he said or published was defamatory. His argument was he's got evidence that it's true, and he may put that evidence in a film, and so he's still, obviously, even if the court obviously found him guilty of defamation in that first case, and since they found him guilty of that, his continuation to publish those statements or views technically do constitute contempt of court. So they will quite rightly find him in contempt of court. And I have to agree with it as somebody who upholds the law. I don't agree with the previous verdict, but once the verdict is given, then the law states, if it's been found to be defamatory, and the conditions of the court say you can't repeat it or republish it or whatever, and he does so, then he's he's in contempt of court. There's no defence against that. But I say what I think is quite clear is that he's opted to pay the price for that. Eyes wide open, you would say. Certainly not bleating about it in any way, just the way it is. And the funny thing is, it's not somebody who technically should, society doesn't want you to even speak of it, because he's considered this wicked boogeyman. But the truth is, I don't agree with a lot of his stuff, but that's because I have the slight problem that I have lots of different views that some are, you would probably listen to my views and call me a kind of left-wing, I don't know, liberal, softy liberal or something, and then you might hear me talking about the fact that I think Tommy Robinson is a courageous activist these days. I think he's changed a lot from what he was, but you might say, oh, that puts you in the far right camp. And the problem is I'm not in any camp. I have views that cross all of them. And that's, I keep saying this more and more now, that's as I get to this stage in my life, I realise that's the really big problem we've got, is this binary polarity thing. Everybody talks about, in politics, I've said this before on this channel, people talk about politics saying, we need a centre ground politician, or we need a centre right or a centre left. And actually, I thoroughly disagree. I think we've had it with the simple polarity, binary polarities, the left-right polarities. I think what we need is, we need a meta-centre position. In other words, actually we need to get above the binary polarities and be able to think about things free from being categorised or pulled in one stupid polarity compared to another. And that, unfortunately for most people, what that really means is that I think the future has to be in cooperative politics. We can't do this combative, adversarial politics anymore. It's clearly not working. It's evidently not working. It never has, really. I mean, it just, I've always imagined that if I was, let's say I was Nigel Farage, or I was in his position, and I really believed strongly that we should have left the European Union back in 2016, as we did, or as the vote went, shall we say. But let's say that was my view at the time, which it wasn't, as it happened, I'm not afraid to say. But if it had been, I would be horrified to have won, inverted commas, and on an issue that I knew would leave 48% of my fellow country people unhappy or dissatisfied. So this is what I mean by the meta position. Is when you're in the polarities, you're in the thick of the detail. All you can see is the winning and the losing. Right? All you want to do is win. But when you take a meta position, what you see is the inadequacy of a win-lose politics. Because from that perspective, you do ask questions like, how can you be celebrating as a leader when you know that nearly 50% of your population unhappy? How does that equal a victory? And frankly, I think the problem is anyone who could honestly say, I would go home that night if I was Nigel Farage, you know, I can imagine going home and cracking open the champagne and being absolutely thrilled that we'd won the referendum, blah, 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 blah. How can you be happy with 48% people being unhappy? Or if you're a leader, you're running the country because less than 40% of the people who voted for you, you know, and the rest don't like you. And of course, the only way around that is coalition. And we have to. What the hell happened to the reality of having to work together and compromise around each other? That's what's not taught. That's why we're in the extremist positions we're in. Anyway, Mike, for tuning, pull your string straight through, till they're straight, through the tuner, pull back 1 fret worth, and wind up, hold on to the held piece over the loose piece on the tuning tape. As the loose one comes around, guide it back up. What you can see there, guide it back up, and then push the held string underneath the second time round. And that locks it nicely in place. That's what I do for minimum necessary amount of string on the posts and maximum grip for the least amount of wrap. Anyway, that's my political stance. The problem I've got is that because I don't align with any single party, it also means I don't belong anywhere in the political binary polarized party system, because you know, you take someone like Tommy Robinson, whilst I might agree with him on one issue, I then hear him go on about, let's say, I don't know, Trump or Brexit or a whole bunch of other things, or even Christianity for that matter, which he espouses and thinks the country should be more Christian. Well, frankly, I don't agree with him on that at all. So, but that's my reality. You know, I can respect his courage. I can respect the principle he's doing. I can agree with some of the actual issues he campaigns about or cares about. But I can disagree with him and still disagree with him on quite a number more things as I do. So I don't think he's any more capable of leading anyone successfully as any of the other party kind of people. And because the thing that really bugs me is if you look at Tommy Robinson's supporters that I've seen, you'll be absolutely struck by the fact that they all seem to hold the same batch of opinions. The ones I've heard talking in interviews and so on. In other words, they absolutely support Trump. They absolutely thought we should have gone Brexited. They absolutely don't support giving any support to Ukraine. And so on and so on. So, and I think, you know, maybe people say, well, you should align yourself with the thing that most generally feels like it matches your interests or views. Well, I'm afraid none of them do. So there we are. Hey! Anyway, so here we have, look at those angles there. Now, going to zoom in because you can really see the difference that notching has done. It's rescued the high E, and well, the high E was the problem as always, but all the others now have got a bit of extra. The low, the A and the E are okay as they are. So I haven't obviously tuned them up yet, which I will do now. So now pull. Now, just one thing here. We had no relief in this neck at all previously, and we've got certainly none now because of the lower gauge strings. So I'm going to look at putting a little bit of relief into the neck if we can. See whether we're able to. I think this may be a different size. A Japanese Yamaha, 5mm probably. I don't know if I've got the. What's this one? It's under made in Mexico. It's an Imperial. Yes. Anyway. Oh, that's got a bit of movement out of it. Okay, I'm going to do the, see if I can breathe. Breathe, Right. Sorry about all that. There's a worst sound. Probably just as well. You'd turn it off and not listen to me ranting. Yeah, I will do. I've got 5mm exact right size for that at home. I've got 5mm here, but not with a long enough angle. So I don't want to jam it in the end. And thanks for that. It'll probably just about. No, it doesn't want to go in. Yeah, I'll tweak it at home. Anyway, so just one last thing then. Once you put your strings on, every time you put your strings on, Mike, if you want it to stay in tune, the tuning stability comes down to two things on your guitar. First one is the nut, which is why I've replaced it with Tusq and made sure the slots are good. The second part is the unreleased slack in your strings, and what you need to do is to push and pull between thumb and forefinger up and down the strings several times until they are basically stopped detuning, and then you will have wrung out all the residual slack that's in there. Now, you know, some people have their own way of doing it. They'll kind of leave it tuned up overnight and give it a tug and then get out and play and think it's good enough. Truth is, it will be what continues to go out of tune over time, and it'll be annoying, combined with a bad nut. To all of that slack. So again, do it again, keep doing it until it doesn't detune anymore. It takes a bit of effort, and occasionally, like all tuning, you may break a string. And that's why I sometimes, with a set as thin as 1047s, they're not thinner than standard 9, but anywhere around 9s I start to get a little bit nervous at stretching the highest strings. I don't want them to pop on me because I don't have another set here, so I take my great care. That will be good for stopping out now. Lower action, pegs are sitting slightly, some of them are slightly up, but they're all in and all doing their job, so. Something like that. Right, I think that's good. Too great in the intonation department there, but nice in the open chords land. That's the way you go. Struck off by Northern Songs. Okay, that's it. I'm going to stop. Quick work down, and we're in the bag, in the case, ready to come home. It's all looking good, actually. Very good. Okay, thanks for watching. See you soon.